Hi, and thank you for joining me for day 23 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life, round 13. And today's sketch, you can see in the top left-hand corner there, is by Sheri Stewart. So there's a strip of paper behind 3x4 photos with florals around. So I decided to start by creating that strip to go behind my photos, and I'm using this dark room door grid stamp with, I think it's fossilised amber ink, Distress Oxide ink, to create a band going across the page. I'm using two photos from our first Warrington crop back in February 2023, the new Warrington crop that's held at Alford Hall, and Jackie was there and she did a selfie of us all standing on the stairs. It was brilliant. Such a nice thing to have as a record of that first crop. So I wanted to document those photos. So as I say, I'm just creating this band going across the page, and then I'm going to create some more strips of paper on top of that band as my mat, I suppose, going across the page. Sorry, I seem to be all over the place today. So I decided to use black and white or black and cream as my base for these photos. Most of us are wearing fairly neutral colours, but Julie's got that beautiful yellow top on. So I wanted to pull out the yellows from that top, and everything else I just wanted to have as neutrals. So these papers are just from my scrap bucket. The black and white diagonal stripe is from Simple Vintage Lakeside, and that other map piece that had the black and white numbers is Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Essentials. So two Simple Stories, and so is that tape measure piece actually as well. So I'm just going to map these photos onto some white cardstock just to make them pop a little bit on top of all these layers. And then they'll be mounted up onto foam pads. So for the florals, I'm actually going to use the Sweet Rush stamp set from Vicky Bootin. I think it was called Oh Happy Day. I've got it here actually, I don't know. No, it doesn't have the name on it, but it might be Hello Sunshine. I really love that stamp set. First of all, I'm going to create a couple more borders. So I'm using this punch that I got from Dress My Craft. It's a lovely circular chain border. And then I'm going to use my notebook punch. And both of them I'm just using on scrap black cardstock, just to add a little bit more to this layering here. So that chain link one will go on the top, and then here's the notebook stamp punch. And I'll be adding that underneath. So while I'm doing this, please don't forget to check the description box down below. There's a playlist there of everybody who's playing along on YouTube. So lots of videos for you to watch and lots of inspiration. There's also a Facebook group, Christie's 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. And you just have to answer a couple of questions to get into that group. So make sure that you answer honestly, just so that Christie knows that you're not a bot or somebody trying to create mischief. So yeah, please do come and join that group, because in the albums there are thousands and thousands of layouts for inspiration. So it's really great to have a look through those. So I'm just going to glue all these papers down now, and I'm going to rough up the edges of each of the papers with my fingernails, just to create a little bit of texture, but not too much. I didn't want to use my distress edger this time, just wanted to rough them up slightly with my fingernails. So just running them around there and doing that. And then bringing the photos back in, just to check positioning and things. So now adding these other strips. First of all, the ruler piece. I love this paper. I could have had a whole pack of 25, I think. They're just brilliant to add as strips going across or down the page. So just roughing that up with my fingernails. Not worrying too much about this edge, because obviously the photos are going to be sitting down there. So just making sure that I've got it all. So here are those foam pads. It's the lovely 25mm foam pads from Sticks 2. I really enjoy using those. They come on a huge roll, and they seem to last forever, but they are great for using for a quick fix. So just getting those stuck down, and then I'm going to start working on those floral clusters. Oh yes, first of all, sticking these border strips down. So just tearing off the excess, and there was no point in using more than I needed. I also hadn't punched it terribly well. You can see that piece that I tore off. I must have overlapped the punch at some point. So just getting rid of that and just sticking these bits down. And that notebook edge punch I've just distressed, just scrunched it up a little bit, just again to create a bit of texture on the page. So now, as I say, digging into this lovely stamp set. So there are 3 sizes of florals on this, and I'm going to use my black ink, the archival ink, which is a permanent ink, onto some yellow papers. Again, these are just from my scraps bin. So just stamping the image and then cutting it out, and I'll be cutting all 3 florals from various papers and adding those to the page, 2 at the top and then the smallest one, the bottom left hand corner. So here's that second one. This is the biggest stamp. And although it's a yellow stamp with daisies on, you don't really notice that it's daisies once the image is stamped and it's cut out. It just has that lovely yellow hue. And this is a great way of using stamps if you don't want to start painting and colouring in. So here's the third one. And this is, as I say, is going in the bottom left-hand corner. Just mis-stamped that, so just re-stamping it. So I've got a full crisp image. And once again, trimming it all out. So now those are done, I'm going to move on to the leaves. And this time I'm going to use that fossilised amber ink again from Distress Oxides. And there are 2 separate sizes of leaves, so I shall do 3 in each size. And this time I'm going on to white cardstock because I'm using the yellow ink. And this just creates a really nice differential between the flowers and the leaves if you're not doing the traditional green leaves and colourful florals. So that's the larger stamp there. And then, as I say, I shall cut all of those out, just leaving a very small white border around the edge, and then they'll be tucked into those 2 clusters. So there's the first one, and there they all are in situ. So I'm just going to start sticking things down. So I just curl up the edges of all the pieces that I'm putting down, just to create some dimension on the page. And then I just add the glue, like for example on these leaves, I'm just adding it down the middle spine of the leaf. On the florals, I just add a dot in the middle so that I can curl those petals up. So just curling everything up here, and then adding that dot of glue in the middle. I'm just making sure that it doesn't run off the edge of the page. And these leaves, I decided that I wanted to rough them up with my fingernails again. So I didn't do the bottom ones when I stuck those down, so I should just go back and do that afterwards. See, I didn't do that one, so just roughing that up. And then going around and gluing all the other bits down. Probably should have cut this bit out. Sorry, it's a bit boring watching me just doing the same thing twice, first positioning them and then gluing them down. So that's that top cluster sorted, just onto the bottom one to get those edges roughed up now. And then I'm looking at what else there is on that stamp set, and straight away I see that almost solid heart, which I really like the look of. It's like a doodle heart. So I'm going to stamp a couple more of those onto white cardstock, and then I can add those to both clusters as well. So just trimming them out. This time I haven't left a white border, I've just cut them right to the edge of the stamping. So one up here just below that bottom leaf, and then another one in the bottom left hand corner. And again, just adding a dot of glue so that I can create some dimension by curling up the edges. So now I'm going to come in with my title, and the title is going to read First Crop. I'm using these Life Noted alphabet stickers from Pink Fresh Studio, just going through my stash and using up some older bits today. So I didn't think I'd be able to fit it all along the bottom, but then when I started laying these down, I saw they look quite nice overlapped. So I do bring that word first down to the bottom as well. So all the title is across the bottom, and I do like how that looks. So I'm just going to overlap these ones as well, budge them up a little bit, and then bring that top word down. And there we have it. So now coming in with my journaling, I've got a huge pile of papers and stuff next to me. So I'd lost my T-square ruler in amongst all of that. So I ended up using a block, which you'll see shortly. But first of all, I just pulled in this tiny stamp from the set that says "Oh Happy Day," which is very appropriate. So I'm just stamping that in a couple of places around the page, again in that archival ink, so that it's permanent black ink. And that looks really nice. The only one I wasn't particularly happy with was that one at the top there, and I do sort that out shortly. So now coming in with this gorgeous leaf vine, and decided to be brave and stamp that straight onto the page. So again using the, I've changed. I used scattered straw, which is a slightly paler yellow, and I'm just adding that one to the top and then two to the bottom down here. And I really love the extension that gives to those clusters. It just sort of draws your eye across the page more. And then once those are down, I shall come in with my journaling. And as I say, lost the T-square ruler. The mess is still to the side of me on my desk. I'm about to clear it up when I finish this voiceover. But I just use my stamping block to create the lines to do my journaling. And my journaling just reads, "Our first crop at Orford Hall, Warrington, and it was fabulous. So many people I hadn't seen in ages, and so much support from friends. I'm so happy we started this." So I couldn't do this crop without Julie and Jackie. They helped so much. And of course, all the attendees. Wouldn't be a crop if they didn't come, would it? But it's wonderful to have it again. We just meet about every 6 weeks. So if you're local to Warrington or fancy travelling up, please do get in touch or join us on Facebook. Our group is Warrington Crop for Paper Crafters. So I decided to cover that stamping over with one of my label stamps from Ellie's Studio. I pre-stamped these, they're in a little pot in my desk. So just adding a few of those, a circle at the top to cover that stamping, so then I added one at the bottom just to mirror that, so it didn't look like it was an obvious cover-up, and then a little tag to the left-hand side. There's a little cluster at the top of the sketch, you'll see, and I've mirrored this sketch, so I decided just to tear a chunk off the top of the page and bring that yellow up to the top. And that's it. I'm just going to glue that down behind that tear, and that's the layout done. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Please do leave any comments you've got below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I'd love to have you here. And other than that, I shall see you tomorrow for day 24. Thanks again. Bye.